is Professor R. Surendran from Government College of Technology. Now I am having my technical champion Navina along with me. She is going to present his assignment 3 with the topics inertial force and inertial torque. Now you can proceed, Navina.
Hello everyone, I'm Navina from Mechanical B. Today I'm going to present a topic on inertial force and inertial torque. Before getting into the topic, let us see first what is dynamic force analysis. When the when inertia effect due to the mass of the component is also considered in addition to the externally applied load, it is called the dynamic force analysis. If we consider only externally applied load, it is called the static force analysis. If the dynamic forces are not balanced, this will lead to vibrations, noise, and even machine failure. We already know that inertia is the property of the matter, offering resistance to any change of its state. It is a passive property. The inertia usually opposes the acceleration. It is the ability of the material to change its state of rest or motion. So inertial force is an imaginary force. It acts upon the body and brings the body to the equilibrium position. Um, Inertial force is equal to the accelerating force and opposite in direction. We already know that inertial force opposes the acceleration. Therefore, mathematically, inertial force is equal to minus of accelerating force. The negative sign indicates the opposite direction. So, inertial force is equal to mass of the body into linear acceleration of the body. Next one is inertial torque. Before seeing inertial torque, let us know what is torque. Torque is torque exerted on an object is equal to the product of the object's moment of inertia times the angular acceleration. The angular acceleration is in the same direction as of the torque. Formula is torque is equal to I alpha. Here T is torque and I is the moment of inertia and alpha is the angular acceleration. So, like inertia opposes the acceleration, inertial torque is opposite to the externally applied torque, but magnitude is same, but it acts in the opposite direction. We already know that externally applied torque is equal to I alpha. Therefore, inertial torque is equal to minus I alpha. Negative sign indicates the opposite in direction. Thank you, sir.
கண்டென்ட் இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் எடுத்துக்கலாம்ல.
சார் ரொம்ப ஸ்மால் டாபிக் சார், பார்த்தேன் கிடைக்கல சார்.
கிடைக்கல, ஓகே. சரி, ஏதாவது கொஸ்டின்ஸ் ஏதாச்சும் வந்து அதில் இது பண்ணிருக்கலாம், டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணிருக்கலாம். டாபிக் வந்து அது ரிலவெண்ட்டாக கொஸ்டின்ஸ் வந்து ஆட் பண்ணிருக்கலாம். சரியா?
அது பார்த்தேன் சார். அந்த ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் எல்லாம் ரொம்ப வேற டாபிக் ரிலேட்டட் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ்ல தான் இது சின்னதா ஒரு இடத்துல இருந்த மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு சார். அதனால போட முடியல சார்.
ஓகே ஓகே, நோ இஷ்யூ. அடுத்தது யாரு பிரசன்ட் பண்ண போறா? Who is the next champion?
சார் நான் பண்றேன் சார். Sir, is my screen visible, sir?
Yes, visible. So I am having my technical champion Lakshanya along with me. She is going to present assignment 3 in the topic of static force analysis of slider crank mechanism. Now you can proceed, Lakshanya.
Welcome all. I am here to present the topic static force analysis of slider crank mechanism. We have all learned what is a slider crank mechanism in our previous classes. There will be one sliding pair and all other pair will be turning pairs. In this presentation, we are going to see what are all the forces that will be pertaining in a slider crank mechanism. So before going into the topic, let us first discuss what a static force is. Static forces are those forces acting on a member whose magnitude doesn't depend upon acceleration and mass of the component. So in general, we can say that the forces which are independent of acceleration and the mass of a body or a component, then the force is called static force. If the components of a machine accelerate, inertial forces are produced due to their masses. However, if the magnitude of inertia force produced due to the accelerating masses small compared to the external applied rho, they can be neglected while analyzing the mechanisms and such a analysis is known as static force analysis. So in a static force analysis, we all know that when the components accelerate, and inertial forces will be produced due to their masses in the opposite direction. So if these forces are smaller in magnitude, so these can be neglected since these are very small compared to the large values. The next important thing which we have to know is free body diagrams. To fully understand the safety of a machine, all forces that act on the link should be examined. It is widely accepted that the best way to track these forces is to construct a free body diagram. If you consider a body, a simple body in which the forces are acted upon, it is easy to calculate the forces, or it is easy to calculate the unknown force if we just draw a free body diagram, since we'll get a clear understanding of what is going to happen. A free body diagram is a sketch or a drawing of the body isolated from the mechanism in order to determine the nature of the forces acting on it. And in this diagram, we will be showing the forces and the moment acting on a body. The diagram so obtained is called free because the machine parts or the portion of the body has been isolated from the remaining machine elements and their effects have been replaced by force and moments. If you consider a mechanism, there will be several links present in the mechanism. So when you're drawing free body diagram for a particular link, only that link is examined, and the several forces that are acting on the links and the moments and torques will be represented using arrow marks and other symbols in a free body diagram for our convenience. What is static equilibrium? A body is in static equilibrium if it remains in the state of rest or motion. If the body is at rest, it tends to remain at rest, and if it's in motion, it tends to remain in motion. The state of equilibrium can be changed by the application of forces and moments. A body is said to be in static equilibrium when there are two sufficient conditions. The one is the vector sum of all forces acting on a body is 0. And the vector sum of all moments about any point is 0. See, when a body is stationary, all the force that is acting on that body should be equal to 0, and all the moments about some point in the body should also be equal to be 0 for a body to be at rest. So these are the factors which are to be considered for the static analysis of on simple plane mechanisms. So let us apply these things in the given problem. In this problem, a slider crank mechanism with the following dimensions is acted upon by a force F is equal to 2 kilonewton at B as shown in the given figure below. OA is equal to 100 millimeter, AB is equal to 450 millimeter. Determine the input torque T on the link OA for the static equilibrium of the mechanism for the given figure. So the figure is given and we have the links 1, 2, 3, and 4. We already know what is static equilibrium. And for the maintenance of static equilibrium, all the force should be come to an equilibrium state. So first we have to draw the free body diagram. When you consider link 4, the free body diagrams will be the F14 force, which will be acting from downwards to upwards, and the 2 kilonewton force will be acting from leftwards to rightwards, and an inclined force 34 will be acting on a link 4. From the force triangle, when you see F14 will be the closing side of the triangle, and this is drawn by using a suitable scale. First, 2 kilonewton is taken to a suitable scale and is drawn in a paper. We know that F14 is perpendicular to the 2 kilonewton force, so it is drawn perpendicular to it. And from the other side of the 2 kilonewton side, a F34 force is drawn for the given angle, and the marking point is marked, and we get F34 is equal to 2.04 kilonewton. From this, it is very evident that F34 is equal to F43, which is equal to F23, which is equal to F32. So member 2 will be in equilibrium if F12 is equal and parallel and opposite to F32. So we know that F12 force, which is there in link 2, will be in equilibrium only if it is equal and parallel and opposite to F32. So we have found that the value of F32 is equal to 2.04 kilonewton. When I substitute the value, F12 becomes 2.04 kilonewton. And H is given that as 75 millimeter. So so we can easily find the input torque. We know that the formula of a torque is force into the distance. So we know that F12 is equal to 2.04 and H is equal to 75 millimeter. When you multiply both, we get 153 Newton meter, and which is the torque that is required for the link to be in equilibrium. Thank you.
Yes. Who is going to present next? Who is the next person going to present?
Present.
Naveen. Yes, you can share your screen.
Okay. So screen is visible.
Yes, visible, Naveen. I am having my technical champion Naveen along with me. He is going to present the topic gyroscope force, and the gyroscope torque. Now you can proceed, Naveen.
Yeah. First of all, good afternoon to all. Now I'm gonna say a topic about gyroscope. Okay. First, what is gyroscope? A gyroscope is a device used as a spinning disc that is mounted on the base such that it can move freely in more than one direction. So it will rotate in a 360 degree. Okay. So the orientation is maintained irrespective of the movement in the base. For example, we all seen it in gyroscope is used in compass in an aircraft or a ship. It's a compass. Gyroscope is similar to compass. Okay. Okay. This is a pictorial representation for this gyroscope. Next, the parts of gyroscope. There are 4 parts in gyroscope: spin axis, gimbal, rotor, and the gyroscope frame. These 4 parts is seen in this picture. See, gimbal, rotor, spin axis, and the gyroscope frame. Okay. And design of gyroscope. A gyroscope can be considered as a massive rotor that is fixed on the supporting wing, known as the gimbals. The central rotor is isolated from the external rotor with the help of frictionless bearing that are present in the gimbal. The spin axis is defined by the axle of the spinning wheel. The rotor expresses stability at high speed as it maintains the high speed rotation axis at the central rotor. The rotor has 3 degrees of rotational freedom. Next, now the working principle of the gyroscope. The working principle is based on the product of the angular momentum, which is explained by the torque on the disc to produce a gyroscope position. Okay. And this term gyroscope motion or gyroscope force is defined as the tendency of a rotating object to maintain the orientation. And rotating object possesses angular momentum and is need to conserve. This is done because when there is any change in the axis of rotation means there will be a change in rotation, which means the angular momentum. Therefore, can be working principle of gyroscope is based on the conservation of angular momentum. The working principle of gyroscope is conservation of angular momentum. So, and then there are 3 types of gyroscopes: mechanical gyroscope, optical gyroscope, and the gas bearing gyroscope. Now we see the mechanical gyroscope. A mechanical gyroscope essentially consists of spinning mass that rotate around this axis. If a gyroscope is installed on gimbals, means that allow the mass to navigate freely in the 3 direction of space. Its spinning axis will remain oriented in the same direction. If it changes direction, the gyroscope are replaced with the modern forms of gyroscope as they are noisier. And next one, optical gyroscope. Okay, this gyroscope are dependent on the ball bearing on the rotating wheel. They are also not based on the conservation of angular momentum. Optical gyroscope use two coils of optic fiber that are spin in different orientation. Since there is no movement in optical gyroscope, they are considerable to a durable and fine application in modern spacecraft and rockets. And the next one is gas bearing gyroscope. The amount of friction between the moving parts is reduced by suspending the rotor with the help of pressured gas. The NASA also uses a gas bearing gyroscope in the development of the Hubble telescope. Okay, when compared to other type of gyroscope, gas bearing is quieter and more accurate. That's why the NASA is also using a gas bearing gyroscope. And application, I already told it in beginning. It is used in compass as a compass for aircraft and ships, spacecraft. The orientation and the pitch of the aeroplane are determined against the steady pin of the gyroscope. Okay. The stabilization of the large boats and satellite is done with the help of massive gyroscope. Gyroscope are used in gyrotheodolites for the maintenance of the direction in tunnel mining. Gyroscope along with accelerometer are used in the design of smartphones, providing excellent motion sensing. Okay. Now, gyroscope force. Gyroscopic motion is the tendency of a rotating object to maintain the orientation of its rotation. The object will resist any change in the axis of rotation, as a change in orientation will result in the change in angular momentum. And gyroscopic torque. A gyroscopic torque will result if the axis of the flywheel is rotated and its axis perpendicular to the rotor axis, means the magnitude of the torque is the product of the flywheel. So rotor movement of the inertia and flywheel angular momentum, and angular momentum of the flywheel is axis. So thank you. That's all, sir.
Next, who is going to present?
Hello, sir. The voice is audible.
Yes, you can present now, Naveen Kumar. Share your screen. Naveen, what happened? Naveen Kumar? Is it possible to share your screen?
Sir, some error in the.
மூணு பேரும் வெட்டிக்காரமா முடிச்சிட்டாங்கடா தம்பி.
சார் ஐ திங்க் சார் நவீனா ஷேர் பண்ண சொல்லுங்க சார்.
நவீனா கிட்ட கொடுத்து ஷேர் பண்ண சொல்லாமா.
ஓகே சார், நான் டாக்குமெண்ட் ஷேர் பண்ணேன்.
நவீனாக்கு சென்ட் பண்ணு. நவீனா ஷேர் பண்ணிட்டு நீ ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ணு.
ஓகே. நவீனா,
நீ நவீனாக்கு வாட்ஸ்அப்ல சென்ட் பண்ணிடுறா.
ஓகே சார். ஓகே சார்.
மெசேஜ் கன்வே பண்ணிடு. Navina, you can share the screen of Naveen Kumar. He may be present the topic.
There's screen.
Yes, screen is visible.
Thank you.
Now you can present Naveen Kumar.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Naveen Kumar from Mechanical B. Now I talk about T-elements principle and principle of superposition. The first one is D-elements principle. D-elements principle is also known as the Lagrange D-elements principle. It statements of the fundamental classical laws of motion. It is an extension of principle of virtual work from static to dynamic systems. D-element separates the total forces acting on a system to forces of inertia due to the motion of the non-inertial reference frame, now known as frictional forces. Although D-element principle is formulated in many different ways, in essence, it means that any system of forces is an equilibrium if impressor forces are added to the inertial forces. The principle does not apply irreversible placements such as sliding friction, and more general specification of the irreversibility is required. The next one is statement of the D-element principle. The principle states that the sum of the difference between the forces acting on a system of massive particles and the time derivative of the moment of the system itself projected onto any virtual displacement consistent with the constants of the system is zero. In the formula of the D-element principle, summation I Fi minus MIVI minus MIVI del R1 equal to 0. In this formula, I is an integer to indicate the variable corresponding to a particular particle in the system. Fi is the total applied force. Mi is the mass of the I in the particle. Vi is the velocity of I in the particle. The next del Ri equal particle I consistent with the constraints. The next D-element principle of inertial forces. D-element showed that the one can transform an accelerating rigid body into an equivalent static system by adding the so-called inertial force and the inertial torque or that moment. The inertial force must act through the center of the mass, and the inertial torque can act anywhere. The system can be analyzed exactly as the static system subjected to this inertial force and the moment and the external forces. The advantage is that in this equivalent static system, one can take moments about any point, not just the center of mass. The often leads to similar calculation because of any force can be eliminated from the moment equations by choosing an appropriate point about which to apply the moment of equation. Sum of the moment is equal to 0. Here some of the crucial applications of D-element principle. The first point is mass under the gravitational force frictionless vertical hoop with a bed parallel axis theorem. The next one is principle of superposition. Now we'll see about what is superposition. The superposition principle is also known as the superposition property. States that for all linear systems, the net response caused by two or more stimuli in the sum of the response that would have been caused by the each stimulus individually. The principle of superposition. The principle states that the combined effect of force system acting on a particle or a rigid body is the sum of the effects of individual forces. Consider the two force. Consider the two force P and Q acting on a board that are be the resultant of these two forces P and Q. According to Newton's second law of a motion, the board will move in the direction of resultant force or with the acceleration proportional to the r. The same motion can be obtained when P and Q are applied simultaneously.
Yes, it is a nice presentation by everyone. So thanks all the champions for presenting the topics, the given duration, and you have to conduct the quiz. எல்லாருமே கிரியேட் பண்ணீங்க இல்லையா? எல்லாருமே கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டீங்களா? லக்ஷன்யா குவிஸ் கிரியேட் பண்ணியாச்சா?
எஸ் சார் பண்ணியாச்சு சார்.
அதை வந்து இந்த டைமுக்கு நான் குவிஸ் கண்டக்ட் பண்ண போறேன்னு போட்டுட்டு யாரெல்லாம் அட்டன் பண்றாங்களோ அவங்களோட மார்க்கை வந்து எனக்கு ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணணும். சரியா?
ஓகே சார்.
நவீன் கிரியேட் பண்ணியாச்சா?
already shared it sir.
ஆமா, ஷேர் பண்ணி எத்தனை பேர் ஆடினாங்க, எவ்வளவு மார்க்னு எனக்கு ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணணும் ஒரு டாக்குமெண்ட். நவீன் குமார்.
Yes sir.
நவீன் குமார் கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டியா?
சார் இன்னும்
கிரியேட் பண்ணுங்க. கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டு இந்த ஒரு டைம் சொல்லி இப்போ அந்த டைம்ல ரிலீஸ் பண்ணுங்க. யாரெல்லாம் அட்டன் பண்ணுங்க அவங்க மார்க்கெல்லாம் எனக்கு ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணணும். நவீனா?
ஓகே ஓகே சார்.
எஸ் சார் பண்ணிடுறேன் சார்.
சரிம்மா, ஓகே. இப்போ எல்லாமே கரெக்டாக நீங்கள் வீடியோகிராஃபிக்காக இருக்கட்டும், ஃபோட்டோகிராஃபிக் மைக்ரோ லேர்னிங்காக இருக்கட்டும், எல்லாமே ஃப்ளோவாக இருக்கணும். டெய்லியும் வந்து இருந்தால் தான் உங்களுக்கு வந்து இந்த செமஸ்டருக்கு இந்த சப்ஜெக்டை தாண்ட முடியும். இல்லாட்டி வந்து இட் மே பி டிஃபிகல்ட். சரி, ஏன்னா எல்லாமே குமுலேட்டிவ் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் தானே. உங்களுக்கு டெய்லி ஒரு கான்செப்ட் வந்து ரொம்ப ஈஸி. ஃபோட்டோகிராஃபிக் மைக்ரோ லேர்னிங்காக இருக்கட்டும், வீடியோ இப்போ காலேஜ் வந்த பிறகு எல்லாம் மொத்தமாக சேர்ந்து பண்ணுவீங்க. ஆனால் எப்படி இருந்தாலும் முடிச்சாதான் வந்து இந்த எல்லா மார்க்கும் போடப்படும். இல்லாட்டி அந்த அந்த காலம் வந்து எம்டியாக தான் இருக்கும். அதனால இன்னும் ஒரு 2 வாரம். என்னைக்கு வர சொல்லியிருக்காங்க காலேஜுக்கு?
15 சார்.
ஸோ இன்னைக்கு டேட் என்ன?
13 12 சார்.
12, 13, 14 நடுவில் கேப் இருக்குது. அவ்வளோதான். வந்தீங்கன்னா நீங்கள் வந்து கண்டிப்பாக முடிச்சு தான் தரணும். எல்லாமே யாரும் முடிக்காமல் ஒருத்தர் கூட இருக்கக்கூடாது. எல்லாருமே முடிச்சு தரணும். ஸோ அதனால் இந்த 2 நாளை யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கோங்க, பேலன்ஸ் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. தேங்க்யூ சாம்பியன்ஸ். நவ் ஐ வில் end the session and I thank everyone for this meeting.
Thank you sir.
Thank you.